Now let's try to use Lambda expression here. So what we are doing is we have a functional interface, and then we have discussed about it. Functional interface is an interface which only has one method. And then we were able to instantiate A with the help of an anonymous inner class. And yeah, we were able to call the method. Now, how do we use Lambda expression here? Now, Lambda expression says we just simplify the anonymous inner class, okay, only for Lambda expression. Now see, if I tell you, okay, just try to imagine this. If I tell you that there's an interface called A and there's a method called show. So in your mind, you know there's an interface A which has a method show. And if I ask you to do this, if I say, try to complete the sentence. If I say A obj equal to, now in your mind, you know A obj equal to means there should be new A, round bracket, curly brackets open, and then public void show. Now, how you know that this is new A? Because it's A object, right? We're trying to instantiate the interface here. Of course, you can't instantiate the interface, but we're trying to instantiate a class of interface here, a class which implements the interface. So basically, when you say A obj, this is something you can imagine, right? This is something you can think about. In the same way, now since you're talking about the interface A, which only has one method, you also know that the method name is show, which returns nothing. It's a void type, and it's also public by default. So from here till here, you know it, right? So if you know it, even compiler should know this, right? Why you as a programmer need to type this code? What if Java says, hey, don't worry, I'm there. You just don't have to type all those things. You just say bracket open. I will understand what you're trying to do. The only thing is you have to put that arrow here. That's it. This is called a Lambda expression. This arrow here is a Lambda. Okay, and this is the entire expression we have. Okay, so just to redo the same stuff, what we are doing is we are removing from here till here, and since we are removing this one curly bracket here, we have to remove this one as well. So first let's remove that curly bracket, and then we'll remove the entire part from here, and then we have to put an arrow. So by doing this, we are asking our compiler, hey, I will not type the code. I will simply say A obj equal to, it's your job to complete the sentence. See, behind the scene, the compiler will do it for you. It's there. Behind the scene, new A, public void show is there. It's just that syntactically, the code is getting reduced. This is called a syntactical sugar, right? Where you are reducing the code. Okay, so this is how it looks like. And also, if in this method you only have one statement, see if you have multiple statements, you need curly brackets. But if you have only one statement, you can skip that as well. In fact, you can skip the semicolon as well because it's not doing anything. And you can write everything in one line. And look at the beauty. You can reduce the code just like that. And I know you still have that doubt in your mind. Will this work? Let's try. And it's working. You see that this is Lambda expression. Okay, can we do something more with this? Of course, I want you to re-watch this video, the cutting part, and try it out. Now can we do something else here? What if the show method actually accepts a value, which is, let's say, int I, okay? And then from here also you have to pass the value. The only problem is, how will you accept the value here? Now, instead of making the changes here, what I will do is I will just go back to our previous syntax so that I can show you step by step what we are doing. Okay, so again, I'm passing an integer I here, and then we have to pass the value here. Now, this is not a method which is not taking any parameter. We are taking a parameter, so you have to accept it here as well. So you have to say int I on any variable name, doesn't matter. And then whatever you want to do with that variable, that's your choice. Let's say I want to use it. It's your choice if you want to use it or not. But I'm printing in show I, the value, whatever the value of I is, which is 5 in this case. Let's try to run this code to see, is it working? Yeah, it is working. You can see we got 5. Now, can I use a Lambda expression here? And the answer is yes. What you can do is, again, from here till here, we don't need that. And we can remove this curly brackets as well. The only thing you have to do is you have to put an arrow here. We don't need this semicolon. We can just put everything in one line. And that's what we have done. And yes, even if you have variables, you can do that. Not just one variable. If you have multiple variables, you can put multiple variables here. Let's say int j as well. And then here also you can accept int j. It's just that you have to pass two values, let's say 5 and 8. We're not doing anything with j, but it's your choice if you want to use it or not. As of now, we are working with only one variable, so let's stick to that. Let's pass only one value, and let's write only one. Let's see if this works. Compile and run. It works. You can see that we got in show 5. Now there's one more thing. You don't even need to mention the type of the variable. You know why? It's because we have mentioned it here, right? When you know that the variable type is int, why to mention it? Okay. And one more thing, if you have only one variable, you don't even need this round brackets. You can simply mention the variable name here. Oh, we have reduced the code so much. Okay, so let's try to compile this code and run. It works, right? Now, let's do something more with this. Now let's say, what if you have a method which returns something? What if you have a method which accepts multiple values? So let's try to do the example for that in the next video. But if you see the files here, okay, this is the older one. Let me just delete all the class files. Just to keep it simple, delete. And let's recompile the code here. Compile. The moment you compile, you can see it is creating only two files, a.class and demo.class. Of course, behind the scene, there is an anonymous class, but it is not creating a class file for you. So it saves the amount of files which you create. Of course, the demo.java file will be quite heavy now. If you compare the file size before using Lambda expression, after using Lambda expression, the demo file size will increase, but it will not create a new file. Okay, so let's files to manage. Okay, so that's how we use Lambda expression here. But what if you have a written type? That we'll see in the next video.